Good afternoon, everyone. This is Adeel Rizvi, your friend, and I welcome you all in this today's very special session that we have today. We have a very special guest from the world of financial planning, a very good friend. And before I go on to introduce her, I would quickly like to say welcome to all of you. Thank you for tuning in if you are coming on live either on YouTube, Facebook, or LinkedIn, or even if you're watching a recording later on. Please let us know, drop us a hello, tell us that you are here, you are watching, you are listening. Even if you're listening to a recording, please let us know. And also put your questions through, whatever you want to ask, whatever you want to talk about, because our topic for today is why financial planning is essential when you're building high performance property portfolios. A very important topic, and I'm really excited to talk about it today. A very quick word about myself. So I'm Adeel Rizvi, property strategist, and I help people create high performance property portfolios, but not without the help of some of the financial planning experts, just like the one we have today with us. Hi, Katrina. How are you going today?
Hi, Adeel. I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
That's amazing. Thank you for joining us today, Katrina. And you come from the financial planning world, and we see a lot of content going around these days, and it always says, "This is not a financial advice. This is not a financial advice." So I think you are the person to whom people come for actual financial advice, isn't it?
Yes, that's correct. Absolutely. Very important part.
Beautiful. No, that's great. And I have a lot of things to discuss with you, Katrina, today. Before we delve into them, you come from your business is leading advice, and we have had I've known Katrina for years now, and we've been referring people to each other, and we know the service that your team has been providing to us. You have multiple offices in Bladesville, in Penrith, and you have a very customized approach. So thank you very much for helping our clients as well, even in the recent past. I just wanted to touch base and start with you. What made you to come into financial planning? Like what really was in it for you that actually attracted you towards this area?
Yeah, I guess my father was in the financial planning industry, and I guess I looked at him and I thought, oh wow, you're helping people. You're striving to help these people protect their wealth as well as help them generate some sort of wealth. And I thought maybe I can do this. And so I guess the rest is history. I think I'm in my 20th year this year. So obviously he's now retired, but yeah, going strong in the financial planning space. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. No, that's amazing. And you guys are always expanding. So I've been seeing
Yes.
for the last few years. You guys are always expanding. So
Yeah.
tell me something. When it comes to financial planning, there are different terminologies we hear about. We hear about income protection. We hear about
Yes.
asset protection, and we
Yes.
also hear about protecting your lifestyle, your assets. So does it mean that everyone requires all of these different kind of protections to have a comfortable life, or I mean, what does it really entail to?
Well, I guess we call it a personal protection plan, and we strongly believe that's the foundation of any financial plan. You would have a certain goal, whether it's buying property or whether it's building your superannuation, whatever it is, but that those goals, those financial goals, can't come to fruition if you don't have a proper protection plan in place at the back end. And that protection plan changes over, I guess, your life stages and where you're at, what
Yep.
stage of life you're sitting at. But yeah, I guess that's how we describe it to our clients.
Exactly. And just to reiterate everyone for our viewers as well, whatever we are discussing today is of generic nature. There's no
It is.
financial advice being given out, even though we have a licensed financial advisor in the house today. But we are still
Yep.
not giving out any financial advice because we don't know your personal circumstances. So more than
And
happy to do
that
financial advice, but in a separate area, in a separate conversation that you can have with Katrina directly.
Yeah, yeah. And that's exactly what financial planning is, right? It's tailored to your personal circumstances. And that's why it's different for everyone. There's no one size fits all type of scenario for everyone. It's very individualized.
It is, and it's kind of it's a bit funny because that's the same advice that we give to the people in property space as well. That when we are doing the property strategy for them, it's not the same strategy for everyone, even though they may have the same incomes, even though they may have the same number of dependents, but doesn't really mean they have the same property strategy. But
Yeah.
the good thing is that at least in financial space, it's more regulated now. So
Yes.
it's much more regulated. It's not that much regulated in the property space, which needs a bit of attention from the authorities, because we have a lot of property strategists these days.
Yes, there is.
So, anyways, I would like to touch upon the most important thing when people are building property portfolios.
Yeah.
They essentially will take a lot of debt on,
Yes.
and it's very difficult to build a property portfolio without any debt, right? So once you take the debt on, that is where the asset protection comes through. How can
Correct.
people protect their assets if they have like 3 or 5 or 7 properties in their portfolio? How can they protect those assets?
Yeah, well, I guess you're using a personal protection plan, which obviously is things like life insurance or income protection. There's lots of different types of insurance that protects you. So your assets are then protected for your loved ones or the people that you're going to leave those assets behind. I guess income protection also works in that way as well, where if you cannot work and you need to add your income into those property strategies, the income protection will support you if you can't, earn your normal income to help with that strategy going forward. So there's lots of different, I guess, aspects of asset protection, and that's where talking to someone like myself and understanding where you're sitting with your debt levels, income levels, your risk, basically. It's how much is that risk and what you're willing to risk. And
And
that's where
talking
the
about the
insurance
risk,
comes in.
yeah, talking about that risk, Katrina, you did mention a few days ago about that client of yours who had like an owner-occupier house plus 2 investment properties, and this went through a stroke. What
Yes,
was their
yes.
story? If you don't mind sharing with us, please.
Yeah, sure. Very 4 young kids, all going to private school. He runs his own business, 2 investment properties, a mortgage quite high, probably nearly 4 million in debt. And he had a stroke in his mid-40s, and that was pretty devastating and eye-opening for him and his family. But luckily, about 10 years ago, we had put in a personal protection strategy, which we did increase over the years as he acquired more debt, because he knew that he wanted to make sure the debt was protected in the event something did go wrong. And now that something did go wrong, he's, I guess, $700,000 more richer, I guess, which he's managed to
Wow.
pay off his mortgage and plus some of the investment property debt as well. So the alternative to that would have been, oh, well, we just sell a property or something like that. But that means you're going backwards in your financial goals. So the whole
Very,
point of having the personal protection plan there is to make sure that you're still reaching your financial goals down the track and you're still on track for your strategy.
that's so true, and I hear it every other day. People talking about, oh, if something happens, we'll just sell the asset and we will take the profits and sit on those profits. Well, as you said, exactly, it's just about going backwards,
Yeah,
because you're cutting off that opportunity of growth. Where if you have 4 properties and you suddenly have to sell 2 of them, you're suddenly cutting off the opportunity to actually have more wealth created through those assets. So you're
absolutely.
reducing your asset base essentially, isn't it?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
And that's where the protection comes through to help you
Yeah.
protect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful. So that actually client got like around $700,000 to actually pay off his mortgage and reduce his debt levels, which should have
Yes.
given him a good night's sleep, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess that's why, when he did take on more debt, he came back to me and reviewed the cover and said, I need to increase, the level of cover I've got because I've taken on more debt. And I want to make sure that if something did happen, I'm protected in this event. So
Yeah,
no one wants to have ill health or anything like that, but everyone knows someone where something's happened.
right.
And making sure you've got this plan in place, this personal protection plan, that really the cost is minimal compared to the potential of selling something. It's really important, especially when you're really on a focused wealth plan.
Exactly. That was my next question. To get that $700,000 payout through his insurance because he got a stroke and he had the right insurance in place, did he
Yeah.
have to pay insurance premiums of like $300,000 before that?
No, no. It's a lot less than I think what some people might believe. His whole, like, he had lots of insurance in place. That was just one of his policies.
Yep.
I guess for all of his personal protection plan, it was around $9,000 to $10,000 per annum, but that was for him and his wife. And that 700,000 was a portion of that amount. So, and some of that the premium would be tax deductible, depending on what type of cover it is and things like that. And I guess that's where seeing someone like myself too comes into play. Knowing how to structure your insurance for your situation is very important. What's tax deductible, what's not. You know, if you're self-employed, you might be able to get a tax deduction where an employee may not. So there's different things to consider with structuring your personal protection plan as well.
Exactly. And we talked about asset protection. I would like to talk about one key thing very quickly, that is income protection.
Yes.
And you had something very interesting to share with us about income protection as well, right?
Yes, I do. I had another client who couldn't work any longer. Basically, it's sad. Like a lot of these stories aren't very nice, but luckily he did have his income protection because he had his mortgage. Nowhere near as many assets as this other client of mine, but he had his mortgage and an investment property that maybe was the wrong property, I'm not sure, but he had to add money to the mortgage on that property every month. So
a negative cash flow property, right?
Correct. So he would have lost maybe both of those properties, his own home and the investment property, if he didn't have the income protection insurance in place. And he's still on claim at the moment, so that's been going for like 18 months. So he's managed to keep those properties. And if he, as I said, if he didn't have that income protection, those he would have had to sell at least one of them anyway. So
wow,
it just goes to show how important it is. The other thing about income protection too is that it is tax deductible. So you pay your premiums, and when you do your tax return, you'll get a little deduction depending on.
How did he actually lose his job? Like what happened with him?
No, he was self-employed, and he was a plumber, and he just couldn't do his work anymore.
So he couldn't do his work, but he had the insurance in place, and that insurance, because he can't work anymore and he can't pay his debt on his two properties, that insurance is actually covering the mortgage for those two properties for the last 18 months.
Correct.
And that is when, at the time when people who are making good money are struggling to pay the mortgages because of high interest rates.
Yeah.
So essentially, he doesn't even need to worry about high interest rates because his insurance is covering for that mortgage, right?
Yeah.
Wow. And essentially, because he did not sell those assets 18 months ago, what is the worth of those assets, roughly speaking, in today's time?
Probably 1.8 total, both of them together.
1.8 mil, and I can safely say that I don't exactly know where those assets are located, but in the last 18 months, what I can share is that the property market has easily gone up by 13 to 15% on average in Australia.
Yeah.
So that 15% growth means that his assets were probably around 1.6 mil, or maybe around 1.5 mil 18 months ago total. Now they're sitting at 1.8, roughly speaking. So his assets have grown by $300,000, and the only reason they have grown by that much is because he has been able to hold on to them.
Yes,
he hasn't sold them. So he has created an additional wealth of $300,000 just by having the right insurance. And while he was creating that $300,000 of wealth, someone else is actually paying off his mortgage, which is his insurance.
Yeah.
So it's a win-win, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. That's the kind of things we want to actually bring to light, because that's what insurance actually helps you do. So even though he can't work, it's a sorry state for him. He can't be on his tools again, maybe for some foreseeable future, I'm assuming. But even then, that doesn't sacrifice his current financial position. He doesn't need to go 10 years backward by just selling assets.
Exactly. And that's what it's all about, having this personal protection plan in place. It's making sure you don't go backwards financially. Exactly. It's about making the right choices as well, so you don't have to sell a property in a fire sale, so to speak, because you've got no money coming in. So, it's all about choice at the end of the day.
It is. It's about your choice if you want to protect your assets. If you don't want to, that's completely your choice as well.
Absolutely.
Okay, beautiful. Katrina, I'm just conscious of the time. I would love this to go on for at least 10 more minutes. I would just quickly want to talk about, as you said in the beginning as well, not this what we presented today is a financial advice, but if someone is looking to consider what financial advice may look like for them, or what kind of insurance would work for them, what the plan should look like to protect their assets,
Yeah.
how can they reach out to you?
Yeah, look, they can just reach out to me via our website, leadingadvice.com.au. I'll put a Calendly link in the comments. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, that sort of thing. Just reach out, and I'm happy to have an initial conversation with most people and just go through their current situation and see if I can help you. You know, I can't say that I can help everyone, but I'm happy to have that initial chat.
That's
sure.
beautiful. And what are
Yeah.
you charging for the initial chat? Like $1,500?
No. For your clients, initial chat, complimentary.
Thank you so very much for that. And I knew about that. I knew about your generosity. I just wanted to bring it to everyone as well, because I recently, there was someone who actually came to you and he was speaking very highly of your services and what you offered them in that initial chat a couple of weeks ago. So I really know what level of service you guys provide. So thank you very much for looking after them as well.
No, thank you. Thanks.
Okay, beautiful. So we'll share the link to reach out to Katrina. She has been kind enough to provide a Calendly link, so you can book a one-to-one directly with her and discuss your scenario. She won't be charging you for that first meeting, but I think it's worth having a chat to see how you can protect your assets and have a peaceful future life moving ahead. Thanks very much, Katrina. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much. See you later. Bye.
Thank you. Take care. I'll see you next week. Take it. Bye.
See ya.